Hello, Henry from Belgium here. Today we're diving into an iconic pirate set from 1991, Rock Island Refuge, LEGO set 6273. As you saw in a previous video, I found this set as part of a larger attic haul. That lot also included Forbidden Island, Lagoon Lockup, and, quite surprisingly, an empty box of the Caribbean Clipper. Rock Island Refuge is a major pirate base in the 1991 lineup, built on a raised baseplate and featuring 381 parts and 7 minifigures. Eldorado Fortress was the full-fledged home base of the Bluecoats, and this set can be seen as the equivalent on the pirate side. When you look at all these parts, you immediately notice that this set is filled with familiar and even iconic pirates details. There's the large pirate flag. It looks great, but with second-hand sets, you always want to check whether the clips are still intact and whether the print is still sharp and deep black. You also get the classic soft plastic palm leaves. Those are beautiful pieces, but they're notorious for tearing around the holes where they slide onto the palm tree trunk. So if you're buying this set used, make sure the leaves aren't cracked or split. Then we have several typical pirates elements: the well-known mast rigging, the brown rope bridges, the molded staircase piece, the classic rowboat, a dark gray prison door, and a modified 8x8 grill plate. None of these are unique to this set, but together they give that instantly recognizable early 90s pirates look. One of the most important elements to check in this set is the cloth sail, 9x11 with blue stripes. It comes with the Imperial soldier's boat. It has the same recognizable blue and white Imperial color scheme as the sails on the Caribbean Clipper, but in a smaller format. This specific blue sail is exclusive to Rock Island Refuge and is quite sought after. A clean original can easily go for around €20 on its own. A fun detail: it's the same type of small sail that appears in Lagoon Lockup, but there you get the red and white version used for Captain Redbeard's boat. That one is also set exclusive, and I'm pretty happy to now have both versions in my collection. There are also plenty of regular plates and bricks included, along with some nice wall panels and a few more specialized elements that I'll show in detail during the build. What stands out right away is that the structure itself doesn't use many color accents. I'm seeing a lot of gray, and above all, a whole lot of black. The minifigures are quite generous in this set, 7 in total, 5 pirates and 2 bluecoats. It's a very balanced selection, and it immediately shows what kind of scene LEGO had in mind back in 1991. A pirate hideout with an Imperial presence nearby. The pirate crew is a great mix. Of course, you get Captain Redbeard, the classic leader of the Pirates theme, complete with his hook, wooden leg, and iconic hat. Alongside him is the female pirate, a figure that appeared in only a handful of sets and is always a welcome addition. You also get the familiar sailor-type pirates, the blue-striped and red-striped bandana characters, plus the first mate with his blue jacket and musket, all very typical for the early 90s pirate style. Opposing them are the 2 bluecoats, one regular soldier with a backpack and shako, and one officer with the classic Bicorn officer's hat. Both wear bright epaulets and that instantly recognizable blue and white uniform print. The set also includes 3 animals: a monkey, a gray shark, and a red parrot. They're small elements, but they do a lot for the atmosphere. The shark instantly makes the waters around the island feel more dangerous, while the monkey and the parrot add life and movement to the higher parts of the hideout. Next to the small sail, this raised baseplate is one of the most important elements in the entire set, and it really needs to be included, preferably in good condition. It's a light gray raised baseplate with green and blue printing, and it uses the exact same mold as the one from Eldorado Fortress. The difference is in the color scheme. Eldorado uses dark gray rock printing, while Rock Island Refuge gets green highlights, giving it a much more tropical look. Same landscape, completely different atmosphere. I can see that someone once thought it was a good idea to draw on the baseplate with a pencil. A toothbrush and some water don't remove it, so I'll try to clean it carefully with an eraser later on. On the underside, I can also see some pencil marks, but those can be cleaned up as well. Much more important is checking for real damage, stress marks, cracks, holes, or pieces that have actually broken off. On my copy, some of the color has rubbed off near the corners, but the corners themselves are still intact. Broken or missing corners are the most common type of damage on these plates, and they can drastically reduce the value. I only see a small bit of discoloration along the seam of the slope. A pity, but not dramatic. After a proper cleaning session, I would still comfortably class this baseplate as good condition. Putting a price on a raised baseplate is always tricky. In theory, you can ask dozens of euros for a clean one, but you still need to find someone willing to pay that. And the same goes for the instruction manual. The manual didn't come with my copy originally, so I had to buy it separately on Bricklink. I paid 30 euros for it, which is quite a lot when you realize you could use that same budget to buy some really nice spare parts instead. But in this case, the seller got lucky. He simply got what he asked because I wanted a clean, well-preserved example. And he was the only one offering one in the condition I was looking for. On the first page, we get an overview of all the minifigures, followed by a few smaller items you can build before the main structure begins. The booklet comes in a practical A4 format and has a total of 20 pages. The illustrations are large and easy to follow, although not every step clearly highlights the new pieces, so I'll still need to pay close attention while building. The main build consists of 21 steps and already looks quite impressive on paper. I've talked in detail about the raised baseplate, but as you can see, there's a second one included as well. A plain blue 16 by 32 baseplate. That particular size in blue doesn't appear in a huge number of sets. The green version is far more common. The blue ones are rarer, but not especially expensive. You can usually pick up a good example for around 3 euros. I can already see that the treasure chest with gold coins is included again, which is always a big plus for a pirate set. On the back of the manual, we get a view of the finished model, but the drawing looks a bit crammed in and doesn't quite fit the page. The booklet also doesn't use the same back cover artwork as many other sets from that era. Normally, the last page has that classic treasure map motif with a few alternative builds shown on it. Here, it's completely missing, which I find a bit of a pity. Besides the minifigures and the animals, there are a few smaller builds included as well. One of them is the classic Lego cannon. Also, one of those legendary pirates elements introduced back in 1989 and later reused in the Western theme. In some regions, Lego also released a non-firing version because the shooting mechanism was considered too dangerous for children. But for me, the firing cannon is still one of the best play features in any pirate set. I remember spending hours with just the cannon alone, shooting at minifigures and little targets. In this set, the cannon sits on light grey wheels. I think this is actually the first time I've seen these wheels in grey in a pirate set instead of the usual brown. The classic palm tree is another truly iconic pirates element, even though you could also find it in a few town sets from that era. Depending on the set, the number of trunk connectors and the size of the leaves can vary. The small piece between the connectors and the leaves also comes in different colors, either brown or green. And in the full option version like we have here, there's even a 1x1 round brick on top, perfect for placing the parrot. The next thing I build is the soldier's boat, another very recognizable little model. It uses the classic rowboat hull with plates on top to create the seats, but here it's upgraded with a turntable brick, a mast, and an extra bar to hold the sail. Both the mast element and the extra bar have a slit where the sail is supposed to hook in. Because you have to put a bit of tension on it, the hole in the sail can tear quite easily, and on my copy it's luckily just managed to survive. I prefer to slide the bars through the round holes without using the slit, just to avoid putting extra stress on the sail and risking more damage. As a finishing touch, there's also an antenna with a small Imperial soldier's flag. You can attach it to the back of the boat or place it on top of the mast. The next small build is the pirate raft. A simple but very recognizable little model. It's basically a mini set on its own. Similar rafts, sometimes with a shark or with a sail, were sold as standalone sets in the same era. It features a rudder system using an oar mounted on a hinge brick at the back. The base is made of the classic brown bricks with axle holes, connected with Technic elements so you can actually roll the raft across the table. The small pirate flag on top finishes it off perfectly. As you can see, I've already built quite a bit, and many of the smaller elements have been used up. It's another sign that this is going to be a very complete and play-rich set. On the other hand, it does make me wonder whether using so many parts on these little sub-builds means there were some budget compromises in the main structure. The first thing I do is place a number of elements that will serve as the foundation of the entire build. Several plates and bricks are also used to make the large opening in the raised base plate smaller. That's typical for this standard base plate. The central hole always has the same shape, but not every set needs it at full size, so LEGO reduces it with bricks to match the required dimensions. I'm especially happy to see this 4x12 green plate. It's not valuable or rare at all, but to me it's a really nice design choice. LEGO could easily have used a grey plate, but the green adds a small extra accent. You also saw me use a light grey 4x4 corner plate, a part I don't actually come across that often. When this set was released, this was still a relatively new element, and it didn't appear in a huge number of sets yet, so it's nice to see it used here in the foundation. There are quite a lot of bricks and plates to place in all kinds of different sizes, and I'm really only just getting started. That's already a pleasant thing to notice. Something I also spot right away is how quickly black bricks attract dust, and you can see it immediately when light hits them. I give the parts a quick clean as I go, but after filming this video, I'll go over everything again more thoroughly and clean whatever needs it. There's a grill with a hinge mechanism placed on top of the pit, which is a fun play feature on its own. But with such a large open space next to it, it feels a bit strange. Almost like putting a lid on a pit that doesn't actually close anything. I've already checked the finished result, and it more or less stays that way. Although later on, there will be bricks and fencing around it, so a minifigure can't just climb out, which makes the whole thing maybe a bit more logical. But I still think this might have been one of those budget choices, where the designers simply didn't have any extra plates available to close the space completely. Another highlight in this set are the wall panels, especially the ones with printed designs. These specific printed panels only appear in 7 sets in total, including Forbidden Island and a few castle sets. I really like the design of the prison area. It uses the classic jail door frame, and on the other side, a row of antennas to represent metal bars. The large opening in the base plate with grill doesn't really serve as a second jail here, but more as a storage pit, somewhere to hide treasure, food, accessories, or whatever you want to stash away. The building process is a lot of fun. The set includes also some standard wall panels, arch bricks, and plenty of other elements that keep the build varied and interesting. What also stands out is how the designers integrated the palm leaves directly into the structure. They're not just placed randomly at the edge. They're used to soften transitions, hide level changes, and give the whole model a more natural island atmosphere. There's indeed a lot of black used throughout the build, something I already noticed in the manual. But that's actually not a bad thing at all. It creates uniformity and prevents the model from becoming a chaotic mix of colors, which you do see in some other sets from that era. When it comes to the designer of Rock Island Refuge, things are a bit unclear. What is documented is that Eldorado Fortress was designed by Daniel August Krentz, one of the key figures behind the early Pirates theme. Rock Island Refuge uses the same raised baseplate mold as Eldorado Fortress, and it clearly follows the same design language. But there is no official documentation that links Krentz, or any other specific designer, directly to Rock Island Refuge. The rope bridge is another great element. It appeared for the first time in a pirate set, namely Forbidden Island, but it's not exclusive to pirates. In this set you get 2 of them, but I can already see that the condition isn't the same on both. On this one, there are visible stress marks along the side. A very common issue you also see on weapons or oars. They can even develop cracks, and that has a huge impact on the value. Nice undamaged examples can easily go for around €5 each. By now, I've finished about 3/4 of the build, and the extra blue baseplate finally gets its place and function. A small pier is built on top of it, with a low wall where the cannon can be positioned. This area also includes a barrel with gold and a weapon, and of course, the iconic treasure chest with coins is present as well. Just make sure you have the correct, historically accurate version. This set uses the chest type with slots in the back. They've clearly chosen this side of the island to attach the blue plate, because this is also where the crane sits. It's one of the most basic crane designs you'll find in a set, and it often gets criticized by fans for being too simple. Of course, a full crane with a proper winch system would have been nicer here, but this version still has a neat bit of functionality. By using a plate with a pin and a Technic plate with a hole, the arm can swing left and right. There's also some nice decoration around this area in the form of light torches. And this time, it's not just the classic space gun element on its own, but they've actually added the small lamp pieces on top, so you can really call them proper lanterns. I finish off the top section with the second rope bridge, the brown rigging elements along the sides, the palm tree, and of course, the iconic pirate flag. Once all the minifigures and extra elements are in place, everything comes together into one cohesive whole, and I can finally show it to you in all its glory. Especially in the close-up shots, you could clearly see that the condition of this set and its minifigures shows real use. With some cleaning, and by replacing a few parts here and there, I could make it look a bit sharper, but honestly, I don't feel the need to. You can tell this set carries a story. It's been played with, it's seen some action, and that's actually a good sign. It shows once again how strong this set is, both as a toy and as a piece of design. For me, there are a few areas where the finishing could have been a bit better. On this side, they could have added 1x2 bricks to create a slightly more protected wall, similar to the front. Around the pier, it also feels a bit unfinished to me. An extra little stair section, or an accessory to moor a raft or boat, would have been a nice addition. I've already talked at length about the open gap next to the grate, but in a way I do understand the choice. It's just big enough for children's hands to reach in and play, and you shouldn't look at it as a fully finished architectural model. I really like the upper level. There's a large play area, and by placing a small fireplace, LEGO immediately creates a sense of warmth and life. It's not just a fortress where battles are fought, but also a place where the pirates live, cook and eat. The extra rigging elements and the rope bridges are a real added value as well. Together with the jail, the small pier with the cannon, the crane and the storage pit, there's something happening in every corner of the build. It all adds up to a set with genuinely high play value. What stands out most to me is how confidently Rock Island Refuge holds its own next to the legendary Eldorado Fortress. Where Eldorado represents the disciplined world of the Imperial soldiers, Rock Island Refuge brings the rugged, chaotic charm of pirate life. Together, they're two iconic opposites that define the golden age of LEGO pirates. And for me, that firmly places this set among the absolute best the theme has to offer, not just as a collectible, but as pure nostalgia and pure fun to build. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you want to see more of my collection, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.